Hey guys, this is Will at Third and Long. Welcome to my Week 9 NFL predictions video. So let's take a look at who's going to win, who's going to lose, and what we predict the final scores will be. Hit that like button and subscribe. So coming in Thursday at 8:15 on Prime, we have the 3-4 Tennessee Titans versus the Pittsburgh Steelers at 4-3. So Pittsburgh is 2.5-point favorites here. Titans, last week, Will Levis came in starting for Ryan Tannehill. He goes off, throws for 4 touchdowns. So if you are a Titans fan, that is really cool to see. And DeAndre Hopkins should be very happy because he finally got some looks this week. Pittsburgh, they have a really good defense led by TJ Watt, but Kenny Pickett might be out this game. So that means that Mitch Trubisky would be throwing. So that means that they're going to be running the ball a lot with the running game and with the quarterback. So this is kind of a tough game because both teams aren't very good. Will Levis had a really good first game, but I'm going to go with the Steelers. I think that they'll rely on their defense and they will try to bottle up and shut down the rookie quarterback. So I have the Steelers winning 21-17 and covering that spread. Coming in on Sunday, 9:30, Frankfurt, Germany. The Miami Dolphins at 6-2 versus the Kansas City Chiefs at 6-2. Kansas City is 1.5-point favorites. This is kind of a tough game. So this is 2 of the highest scoring offenses and 2 of the best quarterbacks in the NFL this year. But look at the weapons that Miami has. They have Tua, they have Mostert, they have Hill, Waddle, Berrios. This team is loaded, but the Dolphins seem to lose to every decent team they play, and they beat the living crap out of the bad team. Chiefs, their offense is pretty questionable this year. Outside of Travis Kelce, they have 0 vertical threats. Everybody else on this team has butterfingers and cannot catch the ball, but they do have a top 5 defense, so they can rely on that. Kansas City is the favorites. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to pick Miami to win 31-28 to get the upset. Chiefs will move the ball because the Dolphins defense is not good, but Ramsey is back. That could make the difference. I'm going to go Dolphins 31-28. Next game that we have at 1 p.m. on Fox, we have the 4-4 Vikings versus the 4-4 Falcons. So I feel really bad for the Vikings. First they lose Jefferson, then they lose Kirk Cousins last week, and they're on a really strong winning streak, moving the ball well. Kirk Cousins was probably having his best season of his career. Atlanta, 5-point favorites here. So neither team has a good defense at all. Vikings, if they have Kirk Cousins, they win this game. But the biggest issue is every quarterback this year seems to be hurt. Seems like every single week there's 6 to 8 quarterbacks that are not starting. So in this game, we are going to have Jaron Hall playing quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. Taylor Heinicke did replace Desmond Ridder last week, but will Desmond Ridder play this week? I don't really know, but Desmond Ridder, he's not good anyways. But the Falcons are loaded with weapons. They are the younger team. They are the healthier team. So I think the Vikings are going to be hard-pressed to win this game without Cousins and without Jefferson. So I am going to go with Atlanta covering and winning the game 24-17 and getting a much-needed win here. Vikings, they kind of need to be in rebuild mode as of right now. And I don't foresee Josh Dobbs actually starting this week. I mean, the guy just got traded yesterday, so he's not going to be starting. Next game is another one of quarterbacks who may or might not be playing. At 1 p.m. on CBS, we have the 1-7 Arizona Cardinals versus the 4-3 Cleveland Browns. Cleveland is 8-point favorites. That's a pretty big spread right there, but it makes perfect sense. So with the Cardinals, they have that lone win versus the Cowboys, and every other game they've pretty much stunk. Now, they did get rid of Dobbs. He has been traded to the Vikings, so will Kyler Murray be playing? That's the big question. Is there a point in playing him? Do you play him just as trade bait, or do you just sit him the whole season and try to get that first pick and try to draft Caleb Williams and trade Kyler Murray out? I don't know what they're going to do. I would not play him personally because what's the point of trying to win here? You want that number 1 pick. You don't want a number 5 pick. You don't want to win 2 to 3 games. You want to lose every single game from this point forward. The Browns, Deshaun Watson. What's up with him? Does the guy want to play football? Does he care? He seems to get cleared every single game, but never suits up on the field. Suits up, throws 1 pass, gets hurt, gets cleared, but doesn't come back out. So I don't know if he's playing or not, but the Browns have a top 10 defense. They will get a lot of pressure on whoever suits up for the Cardinals. If it is Kyler Murray, his first game will be versus the Cleveland Browns D-line. I don't foresee that being a happy ending. So I'm going to go with the Browns getting the win here. They will win 24-17 and not cover. Next game at 1 p.m. on Fox, we have the 3-5 LA Rams versus the 2-5 Green Bay Packers. Green Bay is 3-point favorites here. Now for the Rams, they have absolutely no defense. They have Aaron Donald, and after that, they basically have no one. They have a very good offense, though, with Nakua, Cooper Kupp, but Stafford is out this game. That means that Brett Rypien will be starting at quarterback, so another starting quarterback that's out. For the Packers with Jordan Love, he's basically been stinking this year. Packers have been stinking. They have a decent defense, but their offense cannot get a first down. But they're going to be playing a backup with the Rams. They will not be able to move the ball. So I definitely see why Green Bay is the favorite. So look for them to take advantage of the fact that the Rams are beat up. And I have the Green Bay Packers getting that win 20-17 and getting the push. Next game that we have at 1 p.m. on Fox, we have the Washington Commanders at 3-5 versus the Patriots at 2-6. The Patriots are 3.5-point favorites here. Now for the Washington Commanders, they did play the Eagles very close. This is a flip-flop team. They play really good one week and they stink the next week. So which Commanders team shows up? Sam Howell, the most pressured, most sacked quarterback in the country. Look for him to put up some good numbers here. So the Patriots, they average less than 15 points per game. That's not a joke. That's the serious numbers. That's how bad the offense is under Mac Jones. Now, I was picking the Patriots this whole game because I thought that their defense would finally show up, shut the Commanders down, get some pressure on Sam Howell. But then I said, you know what? The Commanders are actually due to have a good performance this game. So I'm going to flip, and I am going to go with the Washington Commanders getting the upset win here, 21-18. Next game at 1 p.m. on CBS, we have the Chicago Bears at 2-6 versus the New Orleans Saints at 4-4. Saints are 7.5-point favorites here. So that's a pretty big spread. Now, when it comes to the Bears team, so Justin Fields is out still. Will he ever play this season again? I don't know. They might be trading him in the offseason. They could probably get, a 2 or 3, a second or third round pick for him. So they might be shopping him and trying to bomb and maybe try to get the first pick to get Caleb Williams, or if not, trying to pick up Drake May a couple of picks down in the draft. But nonetheless, Saints have a top 10 defense both in total points and total yardage. The big issue is the offense. This is one of the better rosters on paper, but the issue is Carr does not throw the ball past 5 yards. Every pass is a check down. So if you have Kamara on your fantasy team, props to you because he's racking up a lot of points. But Carr, finally, his last few games has been throwing over for 300 yards. When I watched the game this past weekend, he was actually throwing some vertical passes. So that's something new to their offense. I have the Saints here getting a big win. I have them winning 27-14 and covering that spread. Next game we have at 1 p.m. on CBS, we have the 5-2 Seattle Seahawks having a very strong year. They have a very efficient offense and a pretty good defense versus the Ravens at 6-2, who are one of those 10-10 teams, a top 10 offense, top 10 defense. Baltimore, 5.5-point favorites here. Do not overlook this game. So this is Pete Carroll versus Harbaugh. So two well-coached teams. Seattle, well-rounded. Baltimore, well-rounded. Geno Smith having a pretty decent year. Not as good as last year, but still having a decent year. But I think the Ravens are the better team under Lamar Jackson, but the Seahawks are the better rushing team with a few better weapons spread out. But I think Lamar Jackson and Andrews is what makes the difference here. This will be a close game because they're both pretty good teams and they're both pretty evenly matched. But look for Baltimore to get the win 28-24, but I do not have them covering that spread. The next one we have at 1 p.m. on CBS, we have the 3-4 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are on a bit of a slide the last few weeks, versus the 3-4 Houston Texans, who just lost to the Panthers. So the Panthers finally got their first win. So both quarterbacks having decent years. So Baker Mayfield kind of having a comeback year till the last few weeks, and things have kind of gotten sloppy. Houston, 2.5-point favorites, led by C.J. Stroud, who is having a Rookie of the Year type campaign. He only has 1 pick so far, and we are in week 9. These teams are pretty evenly matched. What makes the difference to me? The Buccaneers have some pretty good wideouts, and they have a pretty good defense. Texans, obviously, to me, they have the better playmakers. They have Stroud, they have Pierce, they have Collins, but look for Tampa Bay to finally get the win here. They have the more experienced quarterback. They have the better defense. So even though Houston is favored, I'm going with Tampa Bay getting the upset and winning 24-20 in a very close game. At 4:05 on CBS, we have the Colts at 3-5 versus the Panthers at 1-6. So the Colts are 2.5-point favorites. With the Panthers, they finally got their first win last year. They beat the Texans. I said that they'd probably win about 2 to 3 games this season. So props to them for getting that win in a game that they were not favored in. For the Colts, they are without Richardson. He has been out for weeks, basically, but he's out for the year. So they've been starting Gardner Minshew, who is a high-ceiling quarterback, low-floor quarterback. So either good Minshew shows up or complete garbage Minshew shows up. But when he's good, he's very good. And they have a really good rush offense. They have Moss. They have Taylor, one of the best running back rooms in the country, if not the best. And then you have the Panthers here, who have some talented players, but they don't have a talented roster. So look for the Colts to get the win. Panthers cannot stop anybody running the game wise. So look for the Colts to just run right down their throats. I have the Colts winning this one 28-24 and covering. The next game we have at 4:25 on Fox, we have the New York Giants at 2-6 versus the Raiders at 3-5. Raiders are 1.5-point favorites here. So if there was ever an offense worse than the Patriots, surprisingly so, there is one, and that is the New York Giants, who have a pathetic offense. But Daniel Jones should be back. You have Barkley. Raiders, they have some talented players. They have Adams, but they just fired Josh McDaniels. So they will not have a starting coach. They will not have a coordinator. So the Raiders are basically going to be spiraling out. And what's the point of playing? They should want to stink as bad as possible to move up in the draft as much as possible. So look for the Giants to be able to take advantage of the Raiders' issues. I have the Giants winning 17-14 and getting the upset there. The next matchups is one of the best matchups of the weekend. We have at 4:25 p.m. on Fox, the 5-2 Dallas Cowboys, who have been hot since they got curb stomped by the 49ers, versus the Philadelphia Eagles at 7-1 with the best record in the NFL, but really not the best product on the field so far this year. So Philadelphia is 3-point favorites. They have Hurts, they have Swift, they have Brown, they have Smith. This team is loaded. The offensive line is not as good as it was last year, but it's still one of the better lines in the country. Cowboys, Dak Prescott has been playing really good his last 3 weeks. I think he's had 11 touchdowns and like 2 picks or something like that. So he's been pretty hot, and they obviously have a top 5 defense. So that will make it very competitive for the Eagles. This is a massive NFC matchup here to see who is the best team. I will be going with the Eagles to get the win. Even though Jalen Hurts is hobbled, he was limping the whole game last week. But look for the Eagles to get the win. To me, they just have the better roster. But the Cowboys have a very good roster. But I have the Eagles winning this one 27-23 and covering that spread. Next game at 8:20 p.m. on NBC, we have the Bills at 5-3 versus the Bengals at 4-3. So the Bills, this is the game last year that got stopped early, but nonetheless, Bills 5-3. Bills are very flip-floppy this year. They play good, they stink. They've been doing more stinking the last few weeks, but obviously we know who their talent is. Josh Allen, Cook, Diggs. They have a decent defense. They get a lot of pressure on the quarterbacks. For the Bengals, though, since they started out the year like a complete train wreck, Burrow has been playing really well, throwing the ball. Chase is unstoppable right now. So this is a tough game here because either of these teams can win because they're kind of evenly matched teams to me. But Cincinnati does come in as 2-point favorites. I am actually going to go with Cincinnati to get the win here, 28-24. Cover that spread, but I would not be surprised if this game is flip-flopped and it goes the other way. I would stay away from this game. I would stay away from the Patriots game because I don't know what type of Patriots team shows up, but I do have the Bengals winning this one. The final matchup of the week we have at 8:15 on Monday night on ABC. The 3-4 Chargers versus the 4-3 Jets. Chargers are 3-point favorites here. So with this game, Chargers 3-4. They have a very good offense. Their defense can't stop anyone, but the Jets don't have a good offense, so they really don't need to stop them. They don't have Williams, but they still have Herbert. They still have Eckler. They still have Allen. So a very loaded offense going up against a top 5 defense with the Jets, who are on a 3-game winning streak. So they're really hot right now. A lot of props to them. But Zach Wilson, to me, even with the good defense that the Jets have, he will not be able to keep up with the Chargers getting first downs and scoring. So I think the Herbert versus Wilson will be the deciding factor of this game. So I'm going to go with the Chargers to win 24-20 and cover that spread, because not having Aaron Rodgers starting Zach Wilson has to catch up with them at some point. Props the last 3 weeks. They've played really well, but at some point they are due for a loss due to the quarterback position. So that's my breakdown of the Week 9 NFL games. Hit that like button and subscribe. Thanks.